why they look exactly the same, so I don't blame them.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not one for, to knock on that. It is true that it's going to be a fraction of the price. So more power to you. But you're
Exactly.
on TV, you're going to get caught on TV. And it's kind of they kind of, I think in one of the seasons, like the Salt Lake, this season, they're getting upset at each other for like, you wear fake Prada or whatever designer it is. But yeah, I do watch The Real Housewives consistently. So.
Well, I guess the next step for you is to get featured on there and be part of BravoCon, I believe, next year.
Yes, that would be great. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but Loverboy, I don't know if you know who they are, but they're on the Summer House, and so they are at all the Bravo events. But what would be cool is if I could get into the clubhouse and Andy Cohen does like a Watch What Happens Live and invites some people from different industries to serve cocktails at the bar on the Watch What Happens Live nightly. So I want to get there, but it's hard. It's like it's a who you know situation, and if anyone knows someone who knows Bravo, then I'm game. I have tequila, and so it's easy to bring anywhere and add something to any event.
I have met Kyle. They had I might have an in because I know someone who works for Loverboy, and they had an event here in the Frisco area, and I met him. Him and I were wearing very similar matching outfits, and so we got a picture together. He was super nice. Of course, he had to smooth everybody around, so it was hilarious.
Right, of course.
But I do know somebody who works for them, so I might have an in for you, and I do believe you behind the bar at What Happens Live definitely could help sell Damn Right cocktails. And again, the name alone definitely brings people's attention to it.
I love it. Wow, that's great. I'm talking to the right person.
It's networking. It's all this ever is. Who do you know and how they can help.
I know, and you know that, since you were in the industry for so long and still in the industry, it is really, truly all about relationships. And the longer that you've been in this industry, the better. Now I'm at a disadvantage because I've only been in the industry a few years. And so people roll their eyes when they see me walk into these meetings. But hey, I work with people that have been in the industry for a long time. And so I really value their hard work because it is a tough space to be in. It is cutthroat, the liquor industry. I mean, so you sold wine, anything else did you sell? I mean, did you sell all spirits? What was your favorite?
I was only on the wine side. I dealt with the spirit side, but it was one of those things where somebody had to die or retire to actually get over there because, spirits, as much as wine does sell and it keeps the lights on, spirits is what is the driving force because people know, for the most part, what spirit they want, whether they want a tequila, whether they want a vodka, gin, whiskey, bourbon, whatever. When it comes to wine, they genuinely need to know what it is, or if they, like Yellowtail's popular because they see the billboards. Same thing with the Barefoot. 19 Crimes has gone through the roof ever since Snoop Dogg became part of it. It's just one, and Vanderpump sold a little bit, but not as much. And once that Capriccio, that sangria, I think that dad or something passed out because he drank a 4-pack, which is actually the equivalent of drinking 2 entire bottles. Once that went viral, people were looking for that everywhere, even though it wasn't available everywhere. So it was one of those situations. Oh, yeah.
What happened?
So Capriccio was this, I imagine it's still around. I'm not in that job anymore, but It is a 14% sangria that is either it's like a black bottle and has all the fruit all over it. It's a nice looking bottle.
I've seen this.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They sold 4-packs, but the 4-packs were not like regular, like Sutter Home 187s. They were 375. So essentially you would be buying 2 full-size bottles for your 4-pack. Well,
right.
Some dad apparently drank an entire 4-pack, and then ended up passing out or blacking out or something, and then for whatever reason it went viral, and everybody went to look for it afterwards. And I was like, why for that reason? It's kind of like the Four Loko thing. Whenever those those college kids ended up having those accidents, people were looking for the Four Locos and one of those like crazy. So it's one of those weird situations of like, I guess if you go the complete wrong way for an alcohol beverage, it goes viral and people want it immediately.
Right. It's that saying that all press is good press.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily hope that happens to my brand, but the reality is that people, a lot of people drink to get drunk, and I think that you're exactly right. Especially with something like a Four Loko, it is so high ABV, and it's also easy to drink, and it gets you drunk, and that's definitely a thing. I mean, and so that doesn't surprise me that once that went viral, people are like, I want to get my hands on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about it. What is the origin story for Damn Right Cocktail? Where did the idea come from? How did it all come about? And then take us through, how you finally started to get it into, the containers and cans, getting it out in the market.
Right. I will do the shortened version because I could talk for hours about that, obviously. But long story short, in college, I got my bartending license, and I loved making cocktails. And, as I was saying earlier, I liked that health forward. If I'm going to be drinking an alcoholic beverage, I know that it's already bad for me, but why not make it a little bit healthier? And so I experimented a lot in making low calorie drinks, specifically with tequila. And then, during my bartending years, I realized that there was nothing out there that was a tequila cocktail in a can. That was when White Claw had just came out, and that was blowing up, but White Claw has done it great, and they've done an amazing job, but they're malt-based, and, people want spirit-based products. So when White Claw came out, I was like, this is great. However, I would love my margarita in a can, and I know all my girlfriends and their moms and their sisters and all these women would want a drink like mine in a can. And so, fast forward, I went into the corporate world. Like I said, I moved to New York City, and I was doing conferences and events for surrounding pharmaceutical company conferences. So traveling a lot for that job, and I really learned, got my feet wet in the corporate world, and then COVID hit, and so I got laid off. And it was, during that time when we were all quarantining for a few months, very strictly quarantining for a few months, I was experimenting with cocktail making again, and I had so much time on my hands, and I really looked into the tequila market and saw the massive potential for a tequila business, but more so a canned tequila cocktail. At the time, there was only one or two that I knew of that existed, but none that were organic. And so from then on, I became obsessed with trying to do this, and I little did I know how challenging it would be. And so fast forward, I spent, before I even formed the company, I spent 6 to 8 months kind of throwing this idea around and thinking about what it would take. my family thought I was crazy, and they were exactly right. They were exactly right. And I, got myself together, and I was like, and then I found my business partner at the time, and I was like, we're gonna do this. And he had the connections down in Mexico, and so from starting to form the company to launch, it was 9 months, and that's really, really quick to create this brand, because not only did we have to source the tequila, source the co-packer, find all the goods, and people forget that it was during COVID, and so the supply chain was extremely destructed, especially when it comes to aluminum. Aluminum was at an all-time high, and there was such a shortage. So it was, and then this is what I'm going to add is operations and logistics. So it was putting this massive puzzle together. And it ultimately, like I said, took 9 months, and we formulated the product. And the hardest part was getting the organic certification. So we had to certify the co-packing facility down in Mexico. And this was a whole new phenomenon, because we became the first organic tequila ready-to-drink cocktail ever in the entire world, because a lot of people don't know about tequila, and I'm sure obviously you know, but our product was made with 100% de agave tequila. And so similar to champagne, in order to be called champagne, it has to be bottled in Champagne, France, right? And produced there and manufactured there. So 100% de agave tequila has to be bottled or in my case, canned in Jalisco, Mexico. And so the can itself was this whole new phenomenon that the CRT, which is this entity that controls the affairs of tequila, it just blew up, back in like 2017 because of this White Claw and ready to drink, category exploding. And, so we only could find one facility to do this for us. And then on top of that, we had to get it organic certified. So all this is to say that the process was so much more than just saying, I'm creating this product. It was a full 18 months of figuring out and planning and raising capital, and because that's also the other thing, it's so expensive. But once we were able to launch, it was like, holy crap, we did this. We exported the product out of Mexico into the U.S. and sold through distributors in Texas and California originally. And then that's where the actual hard work happens, because as you know, selling into stores is probably the hardest part, especially in a crowded market. So that's a long-winded story, and I could go into detail about every chapter of it. But ultimately, the getting the certifications, getting the legality figured out was very challenging. But once, we got that done, then it was, all right, how can we sell this? How can we position ourselves as a, category creator and as a great tasting product? And how can we convince people to actually like our product?
True. Well, first, congratulations on putting out the first ready-to-drink tequila cocktail, because I'm glad somebody did it, and I'm glad that I'm talking to you, not knowing that you were actually the first one to ever do it.
Well, right. Well, it was the first organic tequila ready-to-drink cocktail.
That's better for you, so that's really the better side of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like to, remind my consumers, how, when you're eating something or drinking something or wearing something, you don't think about the process of it all. And it's really quite amazing to hear about what it takes to get that thing from, conception to delivery, or consumption rather. And so thank you. It is, and if I stopped the business tomorrow, I think I could say that I did a good job, right? It's that the fact that you even do something, and it's like anything, getting a job and, leaving the job or whatever happens, realizing how far you've come. And so that's kind of what I have to remind myself every single day. And speaking to people like you really helps with that.